Hello, welcome to this video, parameters for data source in Power BI. Parameters in Power BI are a useful way to change values dynamically in your get data and transform process. So when you are connected to a data source using Power BI, whether the data source can be a SQL server or an Oracle or a folder or a file or a web API address, etc. So you created your Power BI report and then published the data to the service, and now there is a need for you to change the data source of the same type. However, the new data source is exactly similar to the old one in terms of structure. In this case, dynamically, you can change the data source through parameter. So mostly it happens in the staging and production server. So you will get a raw data in the staging server, and for production server, you will be getting a different data. So you can change the data source using the parameters. So by definition, a parameter serves as a way to easily store and manage a value that can be reused. So parameters give you the flexibility to dynamically change the output of your queries depending on the value, and can be used for changing the argument values for particular transforms and data source functions. So after creating the parameter for a server name and the database name, so when you get data using SQL Server, it will be like this. You can give the parameter as the server name, and you can give the parameter as the database name. And at the same time, in the report section, when we want to change the parameters, if you want to change the server name, you can just select the edit parameters and you can change the server name. If you want to change the database name, you can do the same also. So we can try and explore more about this. First, we will create the parameter. For that, you need to go to transform data. So in the transform data, you have to go to manage parameters and then new parameter. First, we are going to create the parameter for server name. So you can name this parameter as server name, and you can give the type as text. And actually, we are having two servers. For example, if you have a staging server and if you have a production server, you can get the list of values. Even you can use the query also if you have having a table for that. Now we don't have tables. We can just write in the list of values. We have two server names here. So I've given the two server names, and the default value I'll give for one, and the current value also I'll give, and get OK. So now we got the server name. Now we need to create a parameter for database. Since we know the database name, I'm going to create a new parameter for database, DB name, and I'll use the text for it. And of course, both the data source having the same database name, and the name is school. So I'm going to give it to any value. So now we are having two parameters. One is for server and one is for database. And we will close and we will apply. So here you can go to get data and take the SQL server. So here we need to connect the data source, and the server name is, we have written it in a parameter. So you can select the server name parameter, and the database we have given a parameter, and we have to select which parameter it is. It is not a server name. You have to select the DB name. You can click OK. So we got the tables from this database and the server, and we will select one table called persons, and we load the table right now. We got the table here in the visualization pane, and so we can do two visuals with respect to this table. We can get the stacked column chart, and we can select the discriminator, and we can select the person ID. So we got the result, how many students are there and how many instructors are there. We can change the data label. So we got 25 students and 9 instructors. At the same time, we can take a card and we can show the total number of people. So you can just click the person ID and you can select here count. So we got 34 people are there. Of course, when you count these two, you will get 34. So this way, in one server in the database, we got these values. Now what we need to do is that we can change the server name right now. So instead of going and getting the data source and get data and do the server name, what we can do here is just go to transform data, edit parameters, and here we have the server name option here. just select the second server name. That is this name you have to give. And of course, the database is same. And we will click OK and just click apply changes. Now here you can see the difference between these two because both the data were different. Here we are having 28 students and 11 instructors, and we have the total people as 39. Earlier in the other data source, it was 34. Now here we got 5 more people extra. So like that, you can change the value. You can change the value of data source using parameters at the report level, using transform options, edit parameters. So hope you understood it. If you have any doubt, you can comment it. Thank you. Have a nice day.